we're on to episode 21 of Halloween Horror Reviews 4. And what's going to be our next episode? Well, it seems like in this next episode, we're going back to the Frog Brothers. And this time, they're out for blood.
Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. The grub is downright gruesome, but your appetite's obey. 'Cause food's a little funny, food's a little funny, food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe, your favorite meals on wheels. The menu is disgusting and it's full of special deals. Nothing here is good for you, so grab yourself a tray. 'Cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Gobble up your order quick before it runs away. 'Cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Why not visit after school and have yourselves a bite? An appetizing appetizer certain to delight. We haven't done it right unless it makes your teeth decay. 'Cause food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. The grub is downright gruesome, but your appetite's obey. 'Cause food's a little funny, food's a little funny, food's a little funny at the Clown Cafe.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with episode 21 of Halloween Horror Reviews 4. And this episode is going to be for a third entry in a horror franchise, and it's for a third entry of a series I've reviewed during Halloween Horror Review Season 2 years ago. And I have not even reviewed the third entry yet. I meant to do that last year, but never got the time to do that. But I decided that now is the time to finally view this third entry. The reason I didn't watch the third entry is because the second entry of this series was actually really bad. I didn't want to continue it, but I just wanted to complete this series, and so we did last week. So this episode is going to be for a vampire movie. It's a third and final entry in this vampire series. And that's going to be 2010's Lost Boys: The Thirst, the third entry in the Lost Boys series. What's the plot of this one? Well, in San Salvador, California, the clumsy vampire hunter Edgar Frog is evicted from his trailer, but the bestseller writer Gwen Lieber offers him a job to destroy the head vampire DJ X that promotes worldwide raves to increase his army of undead. Then Gwen tells that her brother Peter disappeared in Ibiza 2 years ago in an X-party promoted by the Alpha Vampire. Now DJ X is coming to San Salvador to promote a sacrifice during a party in the Blood Moon on the next Friday. Edgar discovers that the rave will take place in a slaughterhouse on an island, and Gwen hires also the Hollywood participant in reality shows Lars von Goetz that comes with the cameraman Klaus. Edgar then invites his brother Alan to join the team, but he declines. So he teams up with his new friend Zoe. And when the group finds DJ X, Edgar discloses a secret about the head vampire. So how's this one made? Well, when it came to filming the movie, filming would begin on location in South Africa in November 2009. And at the time when he was around, Corey Haim had confirmed that he would not be participating in the film because he had a very busy schedule. But he said he was looking forward to coming back for a fourth film. But sadly, that did not happen because he sadly died in March 2010. And this film would be dedicated to Corey Haim from the end credits. And it's the second sequel to the original 1987 film The Lost Boys because 2 years before this, we had another one called The Tribe. And in this one, Corey Feldman and Jamison Newlander reprisal roles as the Frog Brothers, Edgar and Alan Frog. And this time, both the Frog Brothers are back instead of just one. Whereas the last sequel is only one of the Frog Brothers, this time it's both of them. So, after the film was shot and completed, Lost Boys of Thirst would go on to be released direct to DVD, like the last one, on October 12, 2010. And how was this one received? Well, it also got negative reviews from fans, and some critics like The Tribe did. Maybe not as viciously bad as The Tribe, but still pretty negative. Now, as for my reaction to The Thirst, well, y'all remember I reviewed the two movies 2 years ago in Season 2. Can I find this? Here it is. Yeah. When it comes to these movies, the first movie, phenomenal. The second greatest vampire movie of the 80s, and easily Schumacher's best work. Then around 21 years later, you had the first sequel that was dumped direct-to-video called The Tribe. I don't care if that shitty thing scratches. Good. I hope it scratches. I ranted on it also for Season 2, and dear God, The Tribe is one of the shittiest horror sequels ever made. You want to know what it basically was? All The Tribe was just the first movie being remade into a shitty dollar store film with terrible CGI, terrible actors, terrible characters, and one of them was even played by Keever's relative who had such a horrendous performance. And I don't even know why Feldman agreed to come back for it. I don't know why anyone from the original would come back for this. Well, Feldman was the only one from the original to come back, but just why? Why be associated with this? Now for The Thirst, which is none other than this movie. I initially refused to watch this because of how bad The Tribe was, but I knew I needed to complete this trilogy review, so I had to do it anyway. After watching it, how was it? It was, also not good. It's a minor improvement over The Tribe. However, regardless, it's definitely not saying much in comparison because the damage was already done when this movie released. Maybe it would be fine if this movie was made in 2008 instead of The Tribe, and the only good thing of The Tribe was it made enough money for a better third entry, but it was still a bad movie nonetheless. What I can agree on, though, however, was that the film was actually entertaining. This time, unlike The Tribe where Corey Feldman just sounded bored, Feldman actually sounds like he's clearly having a blast playing Edgar Frog again in this one, and his enthusiasm seems to definitely bleed into the other actors' performances as everyone looks to be having fun regardless of their acting ability. So his performance is a massive improvement from The Tribe. And it's great witnessing the return of both the Frog Brothers in this one. After Edgar just flies solo in the last movie, and the film really is at its best when they're together on screen. And it leads to the biggest flaw in this movie. Like, Alan Frog just ain't in this movie enough. Alan Frog, this one, he just spent a massive chunk of a pretty short movie just absent from the action, which kind of sucks. And it's just for a movie that just heavily promoted, like, the Frog Brothers were both back. It really promoted that they were both back on screen. And this one, remember Sam Emerson from the first movie? Well, they explain what happened to Sam Emerson and why he's not around. And it pays respect to Corey Haim at the same time. And it's definitely a nice touch, and especially compared to the shafting post-credit scene he received in the second film. And also, I really like that this movie felt like a good tribute to Corey Haim because this film came out around the same year he died. Production values were good, and on the whole, it looked a damn sight better than the last, despite a smaller budget this time around. And although I definitely still don't like the vampire makeup not too much, but again, it's definitely better than the bat-like makeup for part 2 with the CGI black eyes and all that. Like, alright, I threw the disc. Who cares? Their faces were terrible. I don't need to show the dumb disc. And this time around, unlike in the last movie where Corey Feldman was just thrown to the side and just thrown in just to say it's a sequel to The Lost Boys, Corey Feldman actually takes the lead for this one. And it's the first time he takes the lead in a Lost Boys film. And Jameson Newlander reprises his role as Alan Frog for the first time in this third installment. It's not the Frog Brothers reunion fans were hoping for, though, as Newlander's scenes are definitely limited. It's nice to see them back together in action again. And for the little time they are on screen together, though, it's the highlight of the movie. And as far as the rest of the film goes, it's definitely disappointing. It's definitely still disappointing. Although yeah, it's once again, it's still not as bad as the last movie. I think had the last movie not made that much money, we probably wouldn't have had this. But the damage was just done. It was already done when the Tribe released, so there was really no point. How our movie starts off, we literally start off with a flashback of Alan Frog being turned to a vampire. If you saw the second film, you'd know this. Especially with the fact that Sam was turned as well, and Edgar had to pretty much kill him in the post-credit scene. And Edgar is now pretty much haunted by the painful losses that we see through all the flashbacks. And we even use clips from the classic original. He's broke, he's got evicted from his trailer. Then a beautiful woman shows up at his door offering a job to rescue her brother from a game of ruthless vampires. He eagerly takes it to make money and save his home. He recruits the help of the comic book clerk and reluctantly teams up with a reality TV star and his cameraman. And the group raids the vampires' den where they attempt to cover a rave party full of unsuspecting victims of the vampires. And the Thirst this time around, the Thirst actually feels more like a legitimate sequel than the Tribe did. Which was literally just a dollar store rehash of the first film. The focus is put on Edgar Frog, who's been in all three of these movies, and Feldman does a great job hamming it up, and spouting even more quips this time around. And while he and no other characters are given any semblance of depth, you can tell they're having fun with the film. And going into the film with low expectations is the way to go. Like, if you go and think it'll be a cheaply shot, poorly acted, generic vampire film, and only seems interested in finding fun ways to kill vampires, that's exactly what you'll get. But there's a good time to be had with this film for some people. And it's still everything you'd expect when it comes to a film that's the third sequel in a horror series, especially after a much more atrocious one you recently just got. The plot itself isn't really too bad. The only issue, however, the issues with it though is that there's zero characterization for any of the human characters, and the vampires are given even less to do. Like, they've literally just they're just there so they can be killed off in cool, gory ways. And there's a plot twist that just feels really silly. But overall, the script does a reasonable job of moving the story along without it dragging on too much. And speaking of that, guys, let's get on with the good things in this movie that actually do make the film entertaining. And have some entertaining moments. For one, the storyline characters are handled much better this time around. They're much more likable, especially Edgar's companions. I liked the Zoe character. I felt she was really good at the quirky comic book worker. The senator turned weapons expert, and the cocky movie star and his cameraman's sidekick all brought something to the table. And when it comes to Corey and Jemison, they never fail to deliver. They really do own these roles. They definitely wouldn't want to see anyone other than them stepping into those shoes. Like, I know we're rumored to still be getting a Lost Boys remake, and they're going to literally recast Corey and Jamison's roles, and I don't know why. It honestly seems like a shitty idea, and I hope it never happens. I mean, I haven't even heard any update about it, and I hope they don't ever remake it. It'd be a stupid idea. Recasting their roles. And seeing them together again in that opening sequence, when they're hunting the vampires in Washington, D.C., it's truly awesome. It's definitely a fun time to the comic book, and it's really set the tone for the rest of the film. And the motion comic titles even worked very well. It's definitely much more enjoyable than the cringeworthy OC-style opening credit sequence from the Tribe. Right here, and I know we were going to get that we were rumored to get a fourth film, but I don't think this one performed that well, so they didn't end up doing it. And of course, Corey Haim ended up passing away tragically before this movie could even release. Then of course you got and the theme song of the franchise, "Cry Little Sister." The cover in this one, it's done by Aiden, although it felt kind of slightly shoehorned in. Now, I had never really listened much to this band, but this song is really great, and I do like this song a lot, and they do wish another person could have contributed to their own cover, but I think the soundtrack for this one was pretty good regardless of that. And the look of the vampires here, it's way closer to the mark. There's no stupid black eyes or anything like that. There's no demonic faces, which is not how vampires freaking look. Vampires do not look this demonic. Like, yeah, I know that you saw the black face on that disc of the tribe. Like, look at the vampires here. They looked more realistic than the tribe. Way more. There's no picture of the vampires on the disc for the Thirst, because the Thirst is just a red disc. But the look of the vampires in this one, it feels much better done. No like OTD prosthetics, and now if they actually look more like vampires this time around. You actually believe they're vampires. And the vampires themselves don't even have that shitty jump scare they had in the second one, where they were all like, we're vampires, but then suddenly revealing their dumb CGI face and went, we're vampires! Which was a really stupid ass scene. And I felt that Jameson's vampire look was the most favorable, and it's more faithful to the Lost Boys. Well, the vampires did look better. They were okay, but they were a bit cheesy at times. They had the look down, but the charm and mystique was that there with the original boys with someone missing. Like in the first one, you really liked the vampire game. You liked Kiefer Sutherland's character as a villain, and right here, you really believe their charm, mystique, and the vampire reveal actually felt promising and refreshing. Here, though, that stuff, it's just kind of gone. It's kind of missing for this one. But aside, though, they do deliver on the battle through the frogs. They show their skill, and that's exactly what a fan would be hoping for. The Gwen character is a little hard to enjoy, but Edgar's dig of the vampire romance novels was great. This is exactly what horror fans were thinking, because this film came out around the time when Twilight was a stupid popular franchise. And I like the references to the original film and the charactars, like Star, Michael, Letty as well. They established the film this. And I liked Siri Corey Jemison discuss the idea of bringing Chance back as Laddie. And they established, like with the film, the character was leading a life of normalcy with a wife and kids. And that's just one of the many things that the tribe lacked. The opportunity to really open up the story, allow the viewer's imagination to do some work on their own. And there's definitely no. And yeah, like the vampires, maybe their charm mystique from the first one was missing. They look better though, and these vampires, if you think there's like little extreme dude look to them, no, they don't have the extreme dude stuff to them. There's none of that. There's not like no YouTube generation surfing vampires. The vampires are properly updated for today, but you don't get to see much of them. In this movie, they pretty much keep to themselves. Like, the best portrayal of the vampires in this trilogy is the first film. In the first film, you believe they're like this charming gang, but then you find out they're vampires, and they start to get actually threatening right here. But the best part of this film was definitely Jameson Newlander's cameo as Alan. He had the small part, but he managed to steal a show, and I wish we could have had more of him in this film. This movie, though, it just wasn't the reunion we were hoping for. They just didn't go raiding the vampires den together or anything. Like, the only thing Newlander got in part 3 was just present day scenes, and one filmed flashback and some flashbacks to the original movie. Now, Feldman still hams it up as Edgar, but he does slightly tone down the hamminess to his performance in this one. Sorry, I feel like And the whole cast just seems to be having fun and actually seems to act like they're making this movie. I'm like, in the Tribe, the cast just looked bored. None of them looked like they wanted to be in this film at all. And they just did not enjoy their characters. And you just, especially the two siblings in that movie, you just wanted the two siblings to die when you met them. But missing from both the Lost Boys sequels was any younger kids or teens. Like in the original movie, you had the kids in this film, which was the younger brother, which was Sam and the Frog Brothers, and they were written for comic relief. They were acted like brave men. They were the accidental heroes and brave in the face of danger. But since there's no kids in this one, the comedy just kind of missing. Right here. I mean, it's like with these sequels, they try to make them way too serious. Even though Lost Boys was kind of meant to be a mix of both horror and comedy, where the kids' scenes were supposed to be the comedy stuff, the serious horror stuff was supposed to be... Where the serious stuff was when Jason Patrick and Kiefer Sutherland's characters meet, and he becomes friends with them. Stuff right there. That's where the horror stuff would happen. And the flashback sequences featuring Haim and Sam Emerson were eerie. And knowing that the film was completed prior to his passing, it was a fitting tribute. That's why I liked all the tribute stuff with Corey Haim in this movie. And some stuff of the finale is good. For the good stuff of the finale, Edgar impales DJ X with a resin spike grenade before he and Alan finish him off with swords through the heart. But then, to their surprise, the death of DJ X doesn't cause the half-vampires to revert. They discover that Peter was actually the real alpha vampire, whose power DJ X was attempting to extract. And Gwen's rescue mission was also rushed to bring Edgar to Peter, who wanted him to become his personal vampire hitman to keep other vampires under control. So Peter then kills Gwen instead of turning her like she wanted, and then he orders the other vampires to kill Edgar and the rest of the gang. Peter then attempts to use his partial control over Alan against Edgar, but Edgar douses Peter with water, which he seamlessly blesses into holy water, and destroys Peter, returning everyone else to normal. Now, we're on to the bad stuff of the... And then, of course, you got the bad stuff of the film. I'll get to the other parts of the finale later, but the reasons why I still didn't like this film was the plot holes. I mean, I didn't understand most of the story, and when they mentioned the characters pretty much for no reason. And then continuing on, you got the shedding light on Corey Haim's character Sam was tearjerker, but it doesn't answer any of the questions about what happened between Sam and Edgar at the end of the Tribe. But then again, I don't think this movie wanted to try to be canon. So I guess there's definitely that. The cast is having fun with their roles, but most of the other characters are boring and not that memorable. Right here. They still like they're having fun with their roles, and I like some of them, but other than that, the rest of the gang are just boring. And I feel like a few of the things are just thrown in just because. Like, the boob shot at the rave, the novelist walking around in Ledger in the beginning. There's just so many shots of vampires burying their teeth in the camera, and the gums of the vampires were so fake you could even tell they were fake. And it's hard to concentrate on the story with the bad props. And the whole movie, like, this was a dollar sign for the sake of making some cash. Like, there's no real sense of mess from the original movie whatsoever. It's completely gone with the whole storyline swirling around the plug hole like a real stinker does. I mean, like, if you were going to make sequels to The Lost Boys, make them they should have made this stuff in the 90s when they had the chance. When The Lost Boys was relevant. Not wait till, like, nobody acted none of these stars in the first one acted anymore. I get, like, the chorus had the drug use problems, like, revealed around that time, and they were kind of dropped from Hollywood around then, but do you really have to wait till, like, people were semi-retired to finally do these sequels? Or when Schumacher had retired from filmmaking and just kick him out of his own project? Like, you should have still let Schumacher do these sequels. Because The Lost Boys is his creation. And the rest of the finale has this sucky sequel setup because in the part that does that, after the final battle's over, Alan's back home enjoying his first suntan in years, and Zoe and Edgar reflect on their adventure, and Edgar wonders about her knowledge that vampires were real, but she dismisses it as a hunch. Then Edgar comments about something he just read about female werewolves in another comic, which are able to transform at any time. And then we see Zoe's face literally becoming a werewolf. So in a way, this film sets up a fourth movie that will never happen. At all. Good way of ending this series. And why do we need a werewolf twist? Makes no sense. The Lost Boys isn't about werewolves, it's about vampires. That would make no sense. So why did we need to end on another sequel setup? We're not going to get a fourth one because Corey Haim's gone. May he rest in peace. And Feldman doesn't really act much anymore. So, no point. Then you should have just made, instead of the tribe, you should have made this first. Then your third movie could have been about the werewolves. No. Let's make the shitty dollar store remake of the first one for 2008 and then make the actual sequel. Way to fucking go. Amazing. And you're all wondering, if you don't like this movie, Dawn, shouldn't this be a rant? No. I may not like this movie, but I don't think it's rant worthy. Okay, because there's still some things I liked about it. I had some fun with this one. If you want like a rage rant one, go watch The Tribe. That's rage rant worthy. More than this. This actually feels like a sequel, and it actually has entertaining moments. Even though I still don't like it. So anyway, yeah, well, this movie has a better finale, and it's a better movie, and it does a better job being an actual sequel than The Tribe did. It's still not saying much because you still have a bad direct-to-DVD sequel, and it just goes to show that not every single horror film like this movie needs to be a franchise. The first Lost Boys, I don't think the Lost Boys even needed to be a franchise, period. The Lost Boys, the first one had a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, the vampires were defeated, Keever's gang was dead, their master was dead, Jason Patrick's character was restored, as was his love interest and her kid were all restored. Her little brother were all restored. The family was safe. The grandpa saved them. And then we get a great ending of the first one where he's drinking the Coke out of the fridge. And he was like, "There's one thing I couldn't stomach in this town was all the vampires." Roll credits. The end. Story over. We didn't need any sequels. And if you wanted to make sequels bad, then you should have did it in the 90s. Regardless of the drug use stuff or not. Should have did it around then when The Lost Boys was popular. Not wait till the 2000s when almost all the original actors were semi-retired. And when Schumacher wasn't doing films anymore. So yeah, The Lost Boys just should have stayed alone. In the end, The Thirst is entertaining, but I would still definitely avoid it and just go watch the original movie and leave it at the original movie. Anyways, that's it for my review of The Thirst. If you're wondering how to rank Lost Boys The Thirst, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, unless you want to see a tribute to Corey Haim or want a slightly better sequel than The Tribe, just don't bother with this movie as well because it's just nothing great at all. And you're better off with only the original movie. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Lost Boys The Thirst, I'm going to give Lost Boys The Thirst a 5 out of 10. There we go. That wraps up my review for Lost Boys The Thirst, and we covered all the Lost Boys movies. What's going to be the next episode? Well, the next episode is going to be another vampire movie. Except it'll be an actually good one this time, and it's one from the 80s. And it's done by the guy who directed the first Child's Play movie. And this is the one he did before Child's Play. and also starred another actor from Child's Play, except this time, instead of playing the hero of the film, this actor played the villain. Yes, guys, this one is gonna be for Fright Night. Fright Night will be the next episode. So, but until then, guys, I gotta end this video now because I gotta go pick up my stupid tribe disc and put it back in the DVD. But first, I still fucking hate you, you piece of shit. Back in there and stay in there. Tried my ass. Anyway, now, that'll be it for this episode. Thank y'all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.